Hello, and this is Rohan, and we're going to be talking about farm engage units now, finally. So, let's go over what this series is going to be all about, and why the random gameplay as well. So, this is what I decided to do. So yeah, we're going to be talking about all the units in farm engage, but I'm going to be doing a select few per episode. This episode we're going to be focusing on Alear and their retainers. So what I'm going to be talking about unit performance, so like growth rates, base stats, all that. I'm also going to be talking about how I've seen these units being used from my own perspective, my brother's perspective, stuff I've heard as well, that could be good. And then I'm going to be talking about how I feel about the characters, because why not? And I'll do the best I can there with the knowledge I have, so yeah. And then we'll move on to the next unit. So, why the random gameplay? So, in the background I have Kite Racer 2 playing. So, the reason why is because I can't record Engage. I really wish I could, but oh well. But yeah, it's because I want to make this kind of a podcast style thing that you can like put in the background. So I decided to just put some random gameplay there. Kite Racer 2 or Tokyo Extreme Racer 2 I should be saying, as it's more commonly known. It's a game I really like, so that's why I want to have it in the background. It's very easy for me to record. I enjoy the game so much, so yeah, it's very easy for me to just slot in the background, and yeah, you can pay attention to it if you want, but you don't have to if you don't want to, so yeah. So yeah, with the intro out of the way, how about we start with our first unit, Alear. So yeah, Alear is of course the lord of Farm Engage, basically, the main character. So yeah, you're going to be deploying them in every map, I do believe, except for skirmishes. And yeah, because of that, they are kind of important. I say probably more important than, like, you know, I feel like there are a unit that you want to take advantage of because of the emblem system, so yeah. And yeah, I should have mentioned another thing too in the intro too. I might be spoiling a few things here and there, so you've been warned. I probably won't be spoiling the main plot, but I might be mentioning some things that happen later in the game, so yeah, you'll just be warned about that. So, let's talk about Alear. Like I said, Alear is the main character, and yeah, because of that, and this is being a modern farm game, they do get a bit more special treatment to compared to some lords in the past, which is very nice. So, let's start off with the base stats and the growth rates. So, Alear starts off as a level 1 Dragon Child. The base stats are kind of low, as you probably expect. They're not bad. Thanks to Alear having good growth rates, and also because you can, yeah, Alear having good growth rates and being able to be trained, because yeah, the first couple of maps you might as well use Alear a lot, I feel like. He's one of the, or he or she are one of the best units to use in the early game, I feel like, so yeah, that's why, the low base stats I don't think matter too much. And yeah, like I said, I don't think they're even that bad, especially in combination with the growth rates that Alear has too. Let's go over those right now. So yeah, how I'm going to talk about growth rates, because how growth rates work in Farm Engage is each character has their own base growth rates. You add these onto the class growth rates and you get the full growth rates of the units. So yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to be talking about the growth rates for both of Alear's classes. So yeah, the unpromoted class and the promoted one. And then that's it. You can look into the base growth rates and the other class growth rates on your own if you want. So yeah, instead, yeah, like I said, I just want to focus on the classes that most people are going to be using on these units. Basically, the starting class and the promotions, basically, if they promote, that is. So yeah. So Alear's growth rates as a Dragon Child are 70 HP, 45 Strength, 20 Magic, 55 Dex, 65 Speed, 50 Defense, 35 Res, 30% Luck, and 10% Build. So, when they promote though, they slightly improve. You basically get 5 extra Defense, so you go to 55 Defense, 5 extra Res, so you go to 40 Res, and then 5% Luck to get to 35% Luck. and yeah, they promote into a Divine Dragon. There are definitely some important things about this class. So first off, and also Dragon Child to extent. So it's a sword wielding class, but then when it promotes, you get B rank arts. Arts are interesting. If you don't know what those are, basically they are punching weapons. Basically, you use the spirit scrolls, I guess you could say, to use the arts. The only problem with this kind of weapon is while it does have the brave effect on the player phase, it needs both strength and magic for its damage calculation. Because yeah, to calculate how much strength you're putting into it, you need to add your strength and your magic, divide that by 2, and then you get basically the strength stat for the spirit art. So yeah, that does mean that the damage is actually kind of bad, to be honest. So it's more of a utility weapon for Alear, I guess you could say, especially because they only have B rank, which means they don't get A rank, and A rank allows you access to actually a really good spirit art, the flashing fist art. But yeah, again, you could just use it for support. It's like you can like equip the shielding art to protect yourself and maybe not get broken or something like that. But yeah, the swords though are nice, and that does also tie into another thing that Alear gets, a nice personal weapon. So yeah, let's talk about that. And yeah, maybe I'll talk about the personal skills as well in a bit. But anyway, that personal weapon is Liberation. It's 6 might, 90 hit, 0 crit, 4 weight, 1 range, and it has a special effect where it builds the engaged meter by 1 when the user attacks and defeats a foe in a single turn. So yeah, you basically get 1 extra charge for your engaged meter, which is really nice. It makes it a very nice, easy weapon to use, especially because, yeah, it's very light on its own, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, Alear can wield it without any penalty because they have full builds, so yeah. So again, it's a very nice, like, it's like Chron's Falchion Awakening, I guess you could say. It's just a nice weapon that isn't too strong, but you can always rely on it, I feel like. Every weapon has infinite uses anyway, but yeah, like I said, the charging engage unit is very cool. So yeah, I definitely like that aspect about Liberation. So anyway, so yeah, tying into why I think Alear is actually a good unit is actually the personal skill. I feel like Alear has like the best personal skill in the game, or at least one of the best. That is Divinely Inspiring. That is basically adjacent allies deal +3 damage and take 1 less damage. The +3 damage is actually true damage, so what that means is that it'll always do damage. And yeah, you can stack this up with other forms of true damage, like with Erika's ring, for example. So yeah, that's really cool. A very, very nice puzzle skill. And it kind of ties into how I like to use Alear too, or how I've seen Alear being used as actually a support unit, especially near the middle of the game. Because yeah, one thing about Alear you need to know is that, well, they're a dragon unit. Dragon units, their deal is that, while they don't have the best stats in the world, some classes do outstat them, I think. What they make up for it is that they have very powerful engage effects. So, and sync bonuses, basically. So yeah. Basically, a dragon always gets a bonus from any kind of emblem ring, so yeah. And that's where I feel like Alear shines as a support unit, because let's use Byleth as a good example. So yeah, with Byleth, you can go for, of course, the Goddess Dance, which, with a dragon, that gives +3 to all stats, and you also have the Rally 2, which gives +3 to all stats. That's been power crap due to DLC, but it's still really strong. And of course, you can combine the boosting of the stats with Divinely Inspiring as well. So yeah, Alear's got a lot going for them as a support unit. And then in the late game, things do change a bit. Basically, Alear gets a big power boost. That's all I'm going to say right now. And then they become extremely good at combat. But yeah, during the middle of the game though, you can use Byleth and make them a strong support unit. I feel like that's one very good way to use Alear, so yeah. I might call them Byleth by accident, but anyway. So yeah, Alear's just, like I said, I think this is why Alear's so good. You can use them in the early game, get them promoted, And then during the mid game, you can do support stuff, like with Byler, for example. And then in the late game, they get a nice power boost, and then there you go. They'll be good in the game. So yeah, let's talk about some other classes I've seen being used in Alear. Because Alear has the sword proficiency, if you don't know what that does, if you have a proficiency, you get +1 rank in some classes. Mainly classes that, I don't know what the best way to describe it is, but yeah, basically some classes can get an extra weapon rank from having proficiency. So like for example, one class I've seen Alear being pretty good in is Wyvern Rider. Of course, or Wyvern Knight I should be saying, I think it's what it's called. You can get an extra sword rank with that, with the E-swords. And then you can use like brave swords and stuff like that, which is really nice. So, and yeah, like I said, that's a good class because you can also use the Lucina ring with that one, because you can use Flying Bondage Shield with that. You could also try Cav Bondage Shield, but after seeing what my brother was able to do with Flying Bondage Shield, yeah, I think Alear makes a good use of it, especially because of, well, Divinely Aspiring. You can give the people you Bondage Shield 3 extra damage, which is amazing. So yeah, very, very, very good use for Alear as well. See, like I said, Alear is definitely a very flexible unit. I feel like they're good at combat, or decent at combat I should be saying. I wouldn't say they're amazing until the end of the game. And then yeah, they have amazing support niches thanks to being a dragon unit and their personal skill. So yeah, like I said, I think Alear's like really good. Let's talk about character now, I guess you could say. So Alear, Alear of course is the main character of Framme and Clanne. And you know what, I feel like Alear does do a very good job at that. So I think support-wise, I guess you could go over first. Alear, I feel like most supports of Alear are like a chance for them to learn about the person they are talking to. Like, you know, just learn about their quirks and stuff, and all that. That's what I feel like, those supports mainly do for Alear. But yeah, they do have some chime modes though, because yeah, Alear isn't just a plank of wood that kind of just talks to the other person, learns about them. They do react to what the other person's getting up to, and that can lead to some very hilarious results. So yeah, that's why I think Alear is a pretty solid character in support, to be honest. And of course, in the late game, you can also get a nice S support with them, which is very nice. Because yeah, I will say I do like those. They're pretty nice. The ones I've seen at the moment, sure they're not super romantic and stuff, but to be honest I don't really mind that too much. It feels like just a really strong friendship and stuff, which that also warms my heart too, so yeah. And then some of them are just flat out romantic and you don't need to, and the game tries hard to hide it, but nope, that ain't working, so yeah. So that's support. Let's talk about the main story a little bit, but yeah, Alear, I say does a good job in the main story. The developer, a little bit, I'd say. And the things they do in the main plot too are pretty good, except for like some weird stuff at the end, but I think overall, yeah, Alear was a very entertaining character throughout the plot. And one I definitely don't, I'd say definitely a big improvement over some other, like, protagonists we've had recently. Like, Byler was alright, but it does feel like they're just a shoo-in for the player, I guess you could say, because they don't speak and stuff. And then Corrin's a little bit on the annoying side, from what I've heard. And yeah, isn't very strong as the main character, but when they're able to, in like side games where they're not the main character, they actually improve, which is interesting thing about. But yeah, Alear's definitely their own character, even though you can name Alear and also choose their gender. They do definitely feel like their own character, especially in like supports and during the main plot. They definitely feel like their own person, and they do develop because of that as well. So yeah, that's nice. So yeah, I do like Alear quite a bit, I will say. I wouldn't say my favorite lord. There definitely better lords on mine that do more epic things. My favorite lord is Leaf, and yeah, Leaf definitely fills in that role at being epic. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, Alear's definitely not bad, and definitely a good step forward from like other lords, I feel like. So yeah, I definitely am a fan of Alear. So yeah, I think that's everything we have to say about Alear, to be honest. So yeah, um, but yeah, I guess to conclude, yeah, very very solid unit. Um, you kind of always have to deploy them. So yeah, that is a thing to take note of. But yeah, they do definitely hold their weight though. They can fight decently well, they have a good support role, and yeah, recasting of course can be used to some good effect like I mentioned. I think they're not too bad on magic considering they do have a decent 20% magic growth, naturally I think. So yeah, I think it was natural growth, let me just double check that. Yeah, they do have a natural 20% magic growth, which isn't bad at all. So yeah, you could definitely go a magic class if you really want as well. If you want to make use of, well, magic to tear past those high defense units. So yeah. And yeah, like I said too, like yeah, the support role for the middle of the game is very nice. The big power boost at the end of the game is very nice too. And then, like I said, character-wise, yeah, I think Alear is actually really solid. I'm trying to think of what my favorite supports are. I feel like most of them are very similar, to be honest. Like, yeah, it feels like, yeah, Alear's like learning about the character. Sometimes they get kind of weirded out, or they weird out the other person. But yeah, like I said, there's some good moments. I can't really name like all of them off the top of my head, but yeah, definitely, there's a lot of supports that I definitely like with Alear. So yeah, I think that's a good amount talked about with Alear, so yeah, I think we should move on to the next character now. Let's talk about Alear's right-hand man through most of the plot. That will be Vander, the veteran paladin. And yeah, it's good to see these come back again, because yeah, I will say I'm a big fan of the early game cheek, to be honest. Especially Vander himself. I feel like Vander does a really good job as an early game Jacob, obviously. So yeah, let's go with his unit performance first, which is definitely a little bit strange because yeah, he is a unit that follows a very set pattern on how useful he is, obviously, because he is a Jacob after all. So yeah, of course Vander has some pretty strong base stats, especially in the early game. He's pretty tanky, he can take on enemies. He can do decent damage to enemies, especially because he does use high might axes, and he does have S-strength axe, and yeah, that's his proficiency too. So yeah, you can obviously reclass to other axe using classes if you want as well. But yeah, Vander can dish out decent damage as well as take a good amount of damage. But unlike the overpowered paladin or early game paladins or Jakens like Evisima Marcus, Seth, Titania, yeah, he ain't killing everything. He can two-shot things pretty reliably, I feel like, especially if you do give him a proper weapon near the beginning, but yeah, that's not going to keep up obviously because he does level up very slowly. His growth rates don't seem that bad, but they are some of the lowest in the game actually. He levels up quite slowly because he's actually internal level 15, and yeah, that's something I probably should have mentioned earlier. When it comes to, well, class training and stuff, you want to promote as soon as possible because your internal level actually is what determines your experience gain. So, if you have a, well, yeah, if you have a lower internal level, well, you get more EXP most of the time. So yeah, because Vander has such a high internal level, that's why he levels up very slow in the beginning. It's not because of his class actually, as you might expect. Again, it's just because, yeah, he has a very high internal level. And yeah, like I said, that means that you want to promote as soon as possible. Most promoted classes also have better growth rates and of course promo gains on their side. So you want to promote as soon as possible in this game. I did try promoting everyone at level 20. It wasn't really that great, to be honest. That was in my first playthrough. I don't really see the need to, especially on future playthroughs, so I decided to not do that, so yeah. But anyway, so like I said, So yeah, Vander levels it slowly, so he is kind of relying on his base stats, and like I said, his growth rates, while they don't seem bad for a Shaken, they are on the lower end for this game. So yeah, those growth rates are 75 HP, 40 strength, 10 magic, 35 dex, 50 speed, 40 defense, 35 res, 20 luck, and 5 build. So, yeah, like I said, they are on the lower end, but there are ways you can help out Vander if you really want to use him. Even though his EXP gain is slow, the arena always gives a fixed amount of EXP. I believe it's around 15 on the lower difficulties and then 10 on maddening mode. So yeah, if you want him to stay relevant, that's a good way to do it. Because yeah, again, it doesn't, even despite his high internal level, yeah, that gives a fixed amount. So yeah, that means he can level up a little bit easier there. And then yeah, he'll get his growth rates and then he might be able to keep up. But yeah, then again though, his job is mainly to be, well, good in the early game. Until you get other units that outgrow him, basically. That's his role, just like most Shakens, in fact. Yeah, most of them are supposed to be strong at the beginning, but then they fall off, because they don't have the growth rates and the XP gain compared to other units. And yeah, Vander fits that to a T with his, with how he works, basically. He is definitely one of the best Shakers in the game at being a Shaker, to be honest. Because yeah, while he is strong in the early game, he isn't overpowered. And yeah, he does actually fall off too. So yeah, he does his job well. But if you really want to, you can try using a bit more. But you're gonna need to put in the work. Do not reclass him down, I will say. It doesn't help. My brother did it in his first playthrough, it didn't do much. It did allow him to level up a little bit, but it didn't really, it was a waste of time basically. So, of course, you can try reclassing too. Paladin's not a terrible class, to be honest, but yeah, you can go something a bit more aggressive, like maybe Wyvern for example, but yeah. But yeah, the second way I've seen him used, of course, was when my brother used him again. He used him with a DLC emblem in the form of Tiki. Tiki, of course, boosts growth rates, and is actually kind of a Jake in and of itself, to be honest. So yeah, the two actually work together quite well, in that regard, funny enough. But yeah, the boosted growth rates, of course, means that it's, he doesn't really fall off as much. So yeah, even if he does level up slowly. So yeah, that's another way you can keep him relevant. Again, you don't have to do that, because again, he's supposed to just be good in the other game and you can replace him. But yeah, there are options to keep him good, because yeah, any unit engaged can be made good if you want. One thing I haven't really thought about that isn't very good about him is actually his personal skill, Alabaster Duty. It's kind of an underwhelming one, unfortunately. If he's adjacent to Alear, or whatever you call it, you get +5 crit during combat to both Vander and Alear, which is very situational, because 5 crit isn't much, and if you really want to crit with either of them, you're probably better off using like Wrath or something. That's a much more reliable way to get lots of crit on them, so yeah, I wouldn't bother with this one, or make use of this one, so yeah. Especially because it only affects Alear as well, so it's very niche, obviously. But yeah, like I've been kind of rambling on, yeah, like I said, I feel like Vander's a great unit, to be honest. Even if, yeah, he does fall off, kind of, he doesn't fall off immediately like some people think. He can last you a good while, especially if you give him a good ring. Of course, him being on a horse means that, yeah, you could give him Sigurd if you really don't like Alfred for some reason, so yeah, in the early game, you can definitely make good use of that. And use the cav bonus that Sigurd gives with the extra movement. So yeah, that's something you can do. I'm not so sure what other emblems are really good on him in the early game. I guess you could try using like Marth for extra attack, so I feel like Marth's better on other units, so yeah. Especially because, yeah, Marth has Mercurius, obviously, and I much prefer that on other units. We'll talk about that later, obviously. So yeah, it's like Sigurd that really comes to mind, but yeah, there are definitely other emblems that come to mind, probably, that you can think of. That can keep him relevant. I think when I last played, I gave him the 3 houses emblem, which did help him last a decent while because of the nice strength boost. So yeah, he could do some decent damage in one hit with his axes. So yeah, here's again, yeah, he is a bit on the slow side, obviously. His base hit is only slightly better than Alear, but it does mean that yeah, he's also good at chipping down enemies as well because yeah, he's not going to double on one round them. So yeah, it makes it easy for him to set up kills other units, which is also very nice role that he has. Anyway, I think that's enough gameplay now, so let's talk about how he is as a character. I'd say he's also really good. A lot of his supports are actually great, to be honest. There's some funny ones like that Petro support where he tries to be cool and dodge long with him. It doesn't work for his back, so yeah, that was kind of funny, to be honest. But yeah, to be honest though, that support is actually also good because they do talk about like the religious aspect and stuff. That is more important for Petro, but yeah, it does relate to the fact that yeah, he worships the divine. Oh, Vander also worships the divine dragon and is also very close to the divine dragon, so that's pretty cool. Then of course there's his relationship with the two other guardians or stewards. I'm not sure what the exact term is, but yeah, Framme and Clanne. Yeah, most of Vander's supports of them feel like he's like kind of disciplining them and then putting them on the right path and stuff. It does lead to some kind of funny results, and yeah, it'll be fun to talk about that when we talk about Framme, I guess. But yeah, they are kind of entertaining supports. Like yeah, of course Vander's a bit harsh on them in the beginning, but then they learn from the mistakes and then yeah, they become better people as a result. And then yeah, I think yeah, and Vander also has a good role during the game. Of course, he is supposed to be Alear's right-hand man, and you can see that in a lot of scenes throughout the game. Mostly in the early game, but he does get some moments to shine the late game too. So yeah, that was a nice thing to see as well. So yeah, like a lot of Jenkins, he is still quite an important main character. So yeah, that's also pretty nice. So yeah, I'd say that yeah, Vander again, another unit I really like. Even if he's like not the most fun unit to use in the world, of course, you can definitely make him work though. Like I said before, any unit engaged can be used to good effect, thanks to how the emblems work. So yeah, like yeah, if you really want to, you can give him Lyn and watch him destroy everything, because that's what Lyn does. So, and yeah, of course, you can obviously reclass him too into something a bit more practical. Paladin again, like I said, I don't think it's that bad, but it gets a job done, especially in the early game, but yeah, you can obviously mix things up in the late game if you really want to spice up your Vander experience, so yeah. And then, like I said, I think his character's very good for what I remember of it in his supports, and then yeah, during the main story, yeah, like I said, it was great to see him have those moments. I do like that moment near the end of the game too. Like, it's before the final act, where he has that scene. That's a scene that my brother likes to make fun of a little bit, but yeah. Like I said, it was great to see him come in and be there for Alear as well, so yeah. Yeah, like I said, a very good retainer this one. And yeah, I probably think that Vander's the best out of the 3 retainers that Alear gets, but yeah. Yeah, I'm not so sure. He's not the most fun unit of them to use in my opinion, but yeah, like I said, not a terrible unit obviously. And yeah, I do like his character a lot, but anyway. I think that's enough rambling now, so let's move on to the next character. Let's move on to the twins now. So yeah, we're going to start with Framme. So, Framme is, well, supposed to be your early game healer in Framme Engage. That's her role. So yeah, as with most of them, they're not bulky at all. She definitely has really bad bulk. But of course she can heal, and what's cool about her class is that she can actually fight. The only thing is that, well, it's not very good at fighting, because yeah, it's martial monk obviously. It uses arts to attack, and the problem with that is that yeah, they're weak. Especially because yeah, her base stats are very low obviously, because she's level 1 unit, so yeah, that means that yeah, damage is going to be pitiful, so I recommend healing with her mostly. As well as using her key attack abilities, because of course, Martial Monk is a key attack class, so that means that you can use Chain Guards with her. And yeah, that's another great role. And because she is a staff unit too, one thing I can highly recommend is in the early game giving her healing light from the Micaiah emblem, so that you can heal the damage that you take from using the chain guard, which is very useful. It's just a nice little bonus, I guess, that I like to do in the early game. One thing I haven't really talked about is like skills and stuff, but I think it's pretty simple what I do. I basically give counter to everyone, and then the other skill's like a skill that boosts the damage or boosts the speed, depending on what I feel like the unit needs. So I don't think it's very complicated in that regard. But yeah, if you want to talk about what skills you like to use, then yeah, I like to hear it. So yeah. But yeah, there are definitely some other things we could talk about though when it comes to Fram. That's mainly when she promotes. But yeah, in the other game, yeah, like I said, she's your only option for healer until like the first paralog. So yeah, she definitely has a lot of use because of that. And yeah, of course, healing's good, and chain guarding is also really good too. And yeah, like I said, you can make the chain guarding even better if you make use of healing light, like I mentioned. You can even give her Makai if you really want as well, because Makai is good with staff units. Which I can make anyone a staff unit, sure, but yeah, key adepts do get a bonus from the Great Sacrifice that can heal stars, which is pretty cool as well. So yeah, I do like giving, if I'm using Friendly, I like to give them Micaiah if I can. So we can talk about personal skill because again, it's not that amazing unfortunately, unlike just like Vander's. It's very similar. So what it does is that if she's adjacent to Alear again, they both get plus 10 of Void. Void's not bad, and it can stack up with supports, I'm pretty sure. It is definitely better than Vander's, but again, it's very niche and only works on one unit. So yeah, a good support skill, but yeah, I think a bit too niche for my liking. So yeah, that's that. Let's go over some growth rates now, and because she promotes, we could also talk about promotion options while we're here too. So as a Martial Monk, she has 55 HP, 40 Strength, 50 Magic, 35 Dex, 55 Speed, 35 Defense, 50 Res, 35% Luck, and 0 Build. She's one of the few units who have a 0% build growth naturally, so yeah. That can make it a little bit annoying to use, but since she's using arts, that's not really an issue because of flashing first start, which yeah, we can go over in a bit. So let's go over promotions. So yeah, there's Martial Master, which keeps her as a key adept, which is important if you want to still keep chain guarding. The growth rates do differ a little bit. You get 60 HP, 40 Strength, 45 Magic, 35 Dex, 55 Speed, 40 Defense, 55 Res, 35% Luck and 0 Build. So yeah, it's a bit more It doesn't really actually boost strength actually, it makes her slightly bulkier. But yeah, it actually lowers her magic a little bit, which is a little bit weird, but it's only 5%, so it won't be that much of an issue. But yeah, of course, what's cool about Martial Master though is Flashing Fist Art. A very, very powerful art that boosts your speed. So yeah, it's very, very good if you want to do damage with arts. And yeah, if you want to use Framme offensively, I highly recommend it. But yeah, of course, you don't always have to use that as an offensive unit as well. I feel like that's one problem I had when I used it on my first playthrough. I wanted to both be a good support and a good offensive unit, and yeah, I feel like I kind of spread a thin kind of, I guess you could say. Like, sure, she was good at support, but yeah, since I focused too much on it and not enough on her offense, yeah, she kind of didn't feel that impressive as an offensive unit. So yeah, that's why I feel like you should commit one way or another. If you want to be a support unit, then yeah, there's two very good options in terms of emblem. There's of course Lucina, because Lucina is strong with key adepts, giving them basically yeah, her bonded shield gives 100% chance to block the first attack, which yeah, that's really good. The only problem with using that with a key adept, at least without DLC, is that yeah, you can't look at 1-2 range on the person that's doing the chain guarding, which means on madly mode, then yeah, you need to be a bit more careful where you position it. But of course, you can stack up a void thanks to using people she supports in, and then also giving her an art that increases her evasion with a engrave, like the Makai one, for example. So yeah, and of course, yeah, Makai is a great unit for any like staff-based unit as well. So yeah, there is that as well. So the other class you can promote into is High Priest. High Priest is not a good class. It gets extra fist strength thanks to a proficiency in it, but there's really no point using it. It's a mystical class is the main reason why. And there's another mystical class that basically does its job but better, Sage. That's only because of the fact that yeah, its growth rates just don't compare, and yeah, you might as well get the S rank atoms basically. So yeah, as Sage goes here, and yeah, Sage also has better magic growth, I'm pretty sure. It's similar, but yeah, I think the stats are also better too. It's just that yeah, Sage is just much better suited if you want a staff unit that can also use magic. High Priest just feels kind of outclassed by it, but we'll go with the growth rates. She gets 55 HP, 30 strength, 50 magic, 45 dex, 60 speed, 25 defense, 60 res, 55 luck, and 0 build. It does have a good luck growth, the best in the game, but that only really helps one unit, so we'll talk about that when it's relevant. So yeah, yeah, like I said, if you really want her to be a magic unit, which she can definitely do. While base magic isn't the greatest thing I've seen in the world, her growth is definitely pretty good. So yeah, you can definitely try a magic class if you want. I probably recommend Sage, but since she is fast, Mage Knight's also really fun with Chaos Style, so yeah. And yeah, of course you can give her 11 sword, so you can do a little damage to that, so yeah. She's definitely well equipped for being a magical unit actually, so yeah. But of course, most people want to use Fist with her, and that's okay too. But yeah, if you really wanted to do damage, this goes for any Martial Master I'll mention. You really want to give them the Erica ring, because Erica's Lunar Brace works superbly with the Flashing Fist Star. Because yeah, it basically gives you true damage based on the enemy's defense stat, and yeah, that stacks up extremely well to Brave weapons, so yeah. That's why, yeah, Erica's amazing with, Erica is absolutely amazing with any Flashing Fist Start user, which is mostly a Martial Masters. And yeah, it gets even better when she engages. You can also get damage from Bravery by doing that too, and the Lunar Brace, which are normally mutually exclusive when you're not engaged, so yeah. Amazing synergy there, but of course that's a more offensive approach. And yeah, if you really want to use Framme as a killing machine, then yeah, I highly recommend trying to give her the Erica Bond Ring if you can, so yeah. I feel like just giving her Lunar Brace is not gonna cut it, so yeah. I feel like you really need to go all in if you're going to make her a strong Flashing Fist Star user, so yeah. And of course, you would definitely want to forge a Flashing Fist Star if you're gonna do that as well, so yeah. So yeah, that's yeah, that's how it's a unit basically, yeah. We kinda talked about everything, didn't we? So yeah, like I said, a good support unit, especially in the early game. Yeah, you probably don't need her in the late game because you do get some extremely good staff units during the mid game, and they'll probably outclass her. But if you want to keep using her, she does make for a very fun Martial Master, so yeah, you can definitely use her for that if you really like her, and yeah, I can't really blame if you want to do that. Character-wise, yeah, she's a strange one. She is our first, like, very strange unit out of the bunch. She is obsessed with being a fangirl toilet. Which, yeah, you can definitely see in the Alear support, where, yeah, she is definitely a cheerleader, alright, in that support. And, yeah, it does lead to some very, strange scenarios, but, yeah, they talk it over, they reason a bit, and then, yeah, things go somewhat back to normal, I guess. There's also her relationship with her older brother too. They have a support together. It's a very strange one, from what I remember too. They're part of the Divine Dragon fan club, which yeah. She is definitely the one who's more interested than Clanne. Clanne gets a little bit worried about it during his side of the support, so yeah. She also has some pretty fun interactions with other units, like Chloe. I remember that she helped Chloe find some interesting folk food, and then there's that Goldberry spot where Goldberry takes up a yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say more other than that. Oh yeah, and also that support breaks Goldberry too. So we'll probably have to mention that when we talk about Golden. But anyway, um, yeah, like I said, she's a. Well, yeah, I can definitely see some people calling her annoying, which high-pitched voice and also the way she acts. Yeah, I can definitely see why. But I don't know, she kind of feels like an entertaining character to me. So yeah, yeah, I think yeah, like I said, she's just a very fun character, I guess you could say. Yeah, I can definitely see why people don't like her, but again, some fun supports. I wouldn't say the most serious things, but yeah, they definitely have some good moments. Like, I remember that Vander one that we mentioned earlier. That one gets a little bit serious as well, which is definitely good for a character, I feel like. That's why I remember of it at least, so yeah. And like I said, yeah, she is definitely a goofy character, and you can definitely see that in some supports, so yeah. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, from what I remember, yeah, she's definitely not a terrible character in my opinion. She's just kind of odd. If you get used to how odd she is, then yeah, I think you'll like her. But yeah, overall, like I said, very strange unit. She's definitely very unique because yeah, healing classes and engage are definitely a bit more interesting because yeah, it isn't just the standard cleric. Like I said, she can fight back, but yeah, of course, early game you don't want to do that probably. You probably want to wait until she grows a little bit. So yeah, again, I recommend waiting until you know you get promoted and she's able to fight better with better art if you wanted to go offensive. And yeah, if you really want to go offensive, yeah, definitely go the aircraft. But yeah, like I said, she can make a good support unit. If you really want to lean into the support niche, there is the new Enchanter class. That's a DLC class. I think it's called Enchanter. That's a very strong support class. It's a key adept that can use items for special effects, and yeah, Fran being a mostly support unit, yeah, she makes good use of that class if you really want. So yeah, it also can benefit from a fist proficiency too, so you can use flashing fist darts. So yeah, yeah, like I said, it's a pretty fun class, I'd say. So I'd say it's a pretty fun class for me. Yeah, like I said, character-wise, yeah, I don't mind it to be honest. Like I said, she was very entertaining. That's why I don't really mind how weird she can be in some of the supports. She doesn't get to do much in the main game because yeah, Engage feels like one of those farm games where yeah, some characters are plot relevant, but some are mostly in support. So yeah, that's how you mostly learn about them. Like, they get an introduction, and not that well. If you want to learn more about them, support. So yeah, her not being a main character, yeah, means that for but hey, she does get some moments at the beginning of the game because yeah, she is entertaining to the main character. So yeah. And yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, like I said, I would like to maybe use her again. I'm not so sure though. Like I said, I think I used her alright in my first flavor, but yeah, I definitely could have done a lot better if I decided to focus more on her being offensive, because yeah, I remember her being kind of unreliable. Her hit rates were shaky, her damage wasn't too impressive, so yeah, I kind of wish I did go the Eric route. Like, I think my brother did that once, maybe, but yeah. If not, then yeah, I've definitely seen how good Eric and Martial Master is thanks to this, yeah. So that's everything about Fram. Let's go on to the final unit for today. Our last unit for today will be the other twin, the older one of the two. That will be Clanne. So Clanne is a very strange unit as well. I used him in my first playthrough, and yeah, you know what, he was a very fun unit. I say he's strange because yeah, it's actually his growth rates really. They're not very mage-like, but yeah, I guess we can go over why I say that. So yeah, let's go over his growth rates then. So yeah, as a mage, he has 40 HP, 35 strength, 35 magic, 45 dex, 50 speed, 35 defense, 60 res, 25 luck, and 5 build. Yeah, you may notice one strange thing about him. His magic is not that good. Especially because, yeah, he also has a lot of strength too, and you might be wondering why. Why is he like this? Well, yeah, his base magic growth is a very low 10%. I think it's even equal to his strength, or actually no, it won't be equal to his strength, obviously, because we're looking at his, because mage wouldn't give any, so yeah. Yeah, he has a 35 base strength, so yeah. his growth rates don't seem well equipped for mage, but that's fine actually, because his magic base isn't that bad, and of course he can get promo games too. And of course, this kind of ties into the class he's supposed to promote to. But yeah, before we talk about that, let's talk about what he can do in the early game. So, when he joins basically. So yeah, it's actually pretty good for him, especially on Madly mode even. Like, yeah, I wouldn't say he's a good long-term unit for Madly mode, but I think he does... I think he's still kind of useful, because yeah, he's a mage. He can chip enemies for you, obviously from range. And I think the chapter 3 boss, you kind of need him, because it's an armor knight that protects itself from armor effectiveness. So, if you don't have clan for that, yeah, that's really hard to kill, because you don't have another option for a mage, so yeah. So yeah, like I said, I think he has a really good role to fulfill in the early parts of Engage and Madly mode, which is actually kind of funny. But yeah, once you get another mage though, you can drop him if you really want. You can keep using him, but again, people who look as low magic can be a little bit concerned, but yeah, that's where, like I said, one of his promotions comes into play, and probably one you should definitely go for. But yeah, I guess before we talk about that too, let's talk about his personal skill, which again isn't a very good one, but yeah, it exists I guess. But yeah, it's Verdant Faith, which if he's adjacent to Alear, they both get plus 10 hit, which again, that could be useful. I think it stacks the supports, or the Alear support I should be saying, because well, only one unit, but yeah, that affects, but yeah. Again, very niche skill this one. And yeah, probably not one you're going to be relying on too much, but hey, at least it's better than nothing, I guess. So, like I said, now let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about promoting clans. So, if you look at his proficiencies, I do believe he has a sword proficiency as well as his tome proficiency. So yeah, what this means is that, well, he kind of wants to go Mage Knight. Mage Knight gives him 45 HP, 40 strength, 35 magic, 45 dex, 60 speed, 30 defense, 60 res, 25 luck and 5 build. Yeah, now his strength overtakes his magic, which is kind of weird. But yeah, what this means though is that he can mix attack as a Mage Knight. And yeah, preferably with swords probably. So yeah, because yeah, again, he already has the proficiency, so yeah, once you get him to level 10, you can immediately promote into a Mage Knight, which is cool. But yeah, you can use Silver Swords as a Mage Knight, I remember using those with him. But yeah, he's like one of the units who can actually use Chaos Style pretty good actually, because how Chaos Style works is it gives you a speed boost, I think it's plus 5, but you need to be using the opposite weapon type to the enemy. So if you're fighting a physical unit, you need to use magic against them, and if you're fighting a magic unit, you need to use swords against them. So yeah. And yeah, like I said, Clan having very balanced strength and magic means that yeah, he can actually do that with Chaos Style. So yeah, he's actually a pretty good use of it. And yeah, that also ties into another good thing about Clan, is very good speed. Yeah, Mage Knight makes him slightly faster than Siege. He gets a 60% speed growth now. So yeah, he's a very fast unit, so he reliably doubles, and I feel like that's kind of important too, because yeah, you can give him a very high Knight, Organon, or 11 sword, and then yeah, he's going to be able to double with that, and the high Might makes up for the fact that his magic is kind of low, so yeah, that's definitely one very good thing about Clan and his kind of strange looking stats. At this. If you just like look at the numbers and the growth rates and stuff, yeah, it seems ill-suited for Mage, but yeah, trust me, he's actually quite fun to use as a Mage Knight. I wouldn't go Sage to be honest, because again, the low magic is kind of a problem. It's not terrible, he does get 40%, because yeah, Sage gives a massive 30% magic. So yeah, it's pretty good. We can go over the full growth rates of Sage, that's 40 HP, 35 strength, 40 magic, 45 dex, 50 speed, 30 defense, 65 res, 35 luck, 5 build. So yeah, like I said, you can do a bit more magical damage, but again, it's not the biggest boost. I'd rather have the plus 10 speed that Mage Knight has, as well as his ability to use Chaos Star Collar thanks to his good strength. So yeah, yeah, and I feel like they're just better units at being a Sage too, one's with better magic basically, so yeah. Even his sister's actually probably better as a Sage to be honest, but yeah, you can definitely use him as a Sage. Again, he's fast, and naturally. even without Chaos Star, you can probably get some very good damage off. And again, once again, he can use like really high might tomes and his good speed and make up for the fact that he does have the power that other mages has. So yeah, like I said, I say he's very solid as a option as a mage. But yeah, again, there are definitely more interesting units probably because either they have a more interesting class or they hit harder with magic. But yeah, like I said though, Clanne's definitely not one to be slept on in my opinion. As a mage knight, obviously, like I say, he's probably one of the more fun mage knights, but again, it's just a fun class in general, in my opinion. A lot of units can make the class work very well, so yeah. Can't wait to talk about other really good uses of it later, so yeah. So that's Clanne's unit, like I said. Interesting project to train, I guess. Again, he doesn't seem the most interesting mage, because again, he has the low magic growth, but yeah, like I said, he can be very fast, and yeah, Mage Knight synergizes extremely well with how he wants to play, so yeah. I definitely appreciate that from him, so yeah. Let's look at his character a little bit. So yeah, he's a lot less confident than his sister, I feel like. Especially when they get their support, because yeah, he becomes a bit doubtful about his position in the Divine Dragon fan club. He's the co-founder. I remember that happening in the B support with him. So yeah. But yeah, he does go over it, and then yeah, they become buddy-buddy again. Another thing about Clanne that makes him stand out from his sister, because yeah, again, both of them are extremely devoted to the Divine Dragon. He is in a less weird way, but yeah, he's definitely a bit more calmer about it. But yeah, he's still, you know, very enthusiastic. Just not as enthusiastic as his sister. But yeah, another thing about him is his pickles. Yeah, he likes pickles. He's definitely not like that one unit of Fates. I think it's Hisame, I don't know. He's like one of the most forgettable units of the series. But anyway, we're talking about Geicho. So yeah, like I said, pickles, that's another thing. It relates to some of his supports. Like, I think with Etie, he shares the pickles with her to help her out, which is pretty interesting. I think Zolkov is interested in the pickles too, so yeah, they're kind of an important part of some of his supports. Like, a lot of characters are interested in how he uses these pickles, so yeah. So yeah, again, just a little side thing with him, and yeah, I will say, yeah, he does feel a bit more understated, I guess you could say. He doesn't stand out as much when compared to his sister as a character, but yeah, like I said though, he is a fun unit, so that's why I probably used him. Because yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's hard to figure out like really standout points that I really liked about him. I think he had a good support with a character in the late game, but yeah, we'll talk about that later, because it's kind of a spoiler, so yeah. I think that was my favorite support with him, but yeah. Other than that though, pretty simple supports. Like yeah, one time he's devoted to the Dragon. There's that Vander support where yeah, he also needs to learn a little bit too. So yeah, Vander's there to help him out by the end of it, so yeah. And then of course yeah, the pickles, which yeah, I mentioned, which again, just a little side hobby thing that he's interested in. Yeah, it's cool to learn about that aspect of the characters, I guess you could say. So yeah. So that's really all I got to say about Little Clanne. So like I said, he's I probably do like him a fair amount, to be honest. Again, he's probably not my favorite mage. I think yeah, on the tier list he wasn't super high because again, his character, I don't think I found it the most interesting thing. It's definitely not terrible in my opinion. Again, I like this cast. I like this cast more than most people, I think. So yeah. So yeah, like I said, Clanne, yeah, I like this dude. I would happily try to use him again. I don't know what class I'd use with him. I probably might go the Sage route just because, yeah, I had so much fun with Mage Knight. I don't know if I want to do it again because, again, I want to try other units as Mage Knights, obviously, so yeah. And yeah, to be honest though, something else funny you can do, of course, he actually has pretty good strength and speed, so you could go Warrior if you really want. But Magic definitely has its place in this game. Engage definitely favors you if you're good with Magic sometimes, so yeah. Especially in like the late game, because yeah, you got all those high defense generals there that feel like impossible to take out without Magic, so yeah. Magic definitely has its place. And yeah, like I said, Clan, yeah, you can definitely make him a good mage, obviously, as a mage knight, so yeah. That's why, yeah, I feel like, yeah, he's kind of a good unit, to be honest. And yeah, maybe a little bit slept on by some people too, but again, I can definitely see why some people won't be super interested in him, because again, character not super interesting, and he doesn't have super standard support except for like a couple. And yeah, again, he doesn't have the magic that other mages have, but again, I feel like he does make up for it. And yeah, we didn't even talk about emblems that much, but yeah, of course, because of how his stats are, because he's already good with speed, then yeah, it's pretty obvious what we need to boost. Magic. So someone like Celica's good. Celica's actually amazing on him, to be honest. Celica boosts both strength and magic with her sync bonus, so yeah, amazing for him. So yeah, probably my favorite bet. But any mage focused Ember Ring will do just fine for him. So yeah, but like I said, yeah, Celica's definitely a favorite of mine. So yeah, definitely one to remember. And yeah, that's who I used him with in my first playthrough, I'm pretty sure. In the early game, and then when you get Celica back. So yeah, that's that. Like I said, yeah, I guess we can talk about the units overall. Yeah, Liz, Ragtag Bunch, yeah, they are alright. I'd say overall, definitely not my favorite group. But yeah, Vander's a good character, and the other two are alright in my mind. So yeah, and yeah, they're definitely good early game units as well. Vander does have his strong early game niche, and then the other two are fun. They have some utility at the beginning of the game that can be useful, and then yeah, if you want to use them, then yeah, they definitely have the potential. So yeah, yeah, I say that, yeah, Engage gets off to a good start with its units. So yeah. So that'll be that. Next time we're going to be talking about Alfred and his group, because they join next. So yeah, that'll be interesting to talk about, because yeah, I have a lot of choice words in Alfred. Let's just say, so yeah, look forward to that, and I'll see you guys again for the